Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. You're here on the home of the slightly above average ship review. I'm your host KPZ, average player in World of Warships Legends, especially when it comes to cruisers. We are here on the Atlantic in a capture the base match. We are down tier in the campaign ship, the Agir. I probably mispronounced that, whatever. There are two Agirs on each side. We're in a match with no aircraft carriers. And unlike Vittorio Cuniberti, the Air Agir actually existed, at least on paper. All right, the O class was a planned class of 3 battle cruisers for the Kriegsmarine before World War II. Born with the suggestion of modifying the P class cruiser, which also probably wasn't made, with 380 millimeter guns instead of 283 millimeter guns, incorporated into the very menacing sounding Plan Z. Blah, 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 blah. Construction did not progress due to lack of materials and higher priorities for ship construction. All right, really quickly over to WoW's builds for the Agir. Your Sigma is 2.0. That is destroyer level of Sigma. Fires per minute 1.88. Your armor piercing overmatch is 21 millers. The arming threshold is 51 millimeters. And your torpedo reaction time for the enemy ship is 7.69 seconds. I am playing the Agir with I would call him the offensive commander, much like Norman Scott or Nikolai Kuznetsov. I am using, I think it's Karl von Mueller. He has speed as his base rate. We do get punched pretty hard there because I was trying to turn away by the enemy Agir. We're going to shoot at the Khabarovsk just because I want to compound one bad decision with another, and of course we totally miss. But in turning, we managed to avoid the other Agir salvo, I think, or somebody's salvo. And then there we avoided the Agir salvo, so it's all good. And then somebody else sets us on fire when I think I no longer have anything to worry about. Probably the Iwami. What are you shooting AG for in a Agir battleship? If that was the Iwami. All right, the enemy Agir got online here, and so we're going to shoot the rear turret at him. And right now, I know I'm doing a bang-up job. I can't promise you this is going to be a great match, ladies and gentlemen, but I can promise you we will finish at the top of the board. And I think it is going to be a great showcase of the things the Agir brings to the table in the hands of someone who is definitely not a cruiser main, and that's me. In fact, at this point, I think I would rather play aircraft carriers than cruisers. All right, so we're doing a big loop out here in the water because we got big guns, and I intend to use them. The Khabarovsk is not a very good target, nor would it have been if it hadn't gone behind that rock. But he is going to go out here. We are going to shoot at him. And I want to say I've got my stat comparison already. There are 15 cruisers at the tier, which is tier 7? 8. Tier 8. 15 cruisers at tier 8, including the Agir, unlike a lot of the other ships I've talked about lately. The Agir's actually injected into the ship comparison, and WoW's builds is working. It was working for me when I did my Vittorio Cuniberti video, which is on Tuesday, hopefully. But if you're watching this one, fear not, we will do a full stat comparison of the Agir. Enemy Agir going bow on. I can't say I disagree with that tactic. I'm going to shoot at him and go bow on myself. I will give you the first stat comparison. Hit points. Number 1, Kronstadt, 71,050. Number 2, Carnot. Number 3, Agir, 62,850. So that is really nice. Firing range. Tied for first with the Petropavlovsk, I guess. Agir and Petropavlovsk, 16.2. Armor piercing DPM. This one feels almost silly. Oh, wait! Enemy Minotaur. Don't be trying to come up and give me the okie doke, sir. We're going to fire him up with the big guns. Citadel hit there. We're going to fire again and not do a lot of damage. We're going to get some torpedo strikes and finish off the Minotaur, and then we are going to turn away using our agility, of which we have a little bit. Alright, we're going to fire up the Khabarovsk and not do a ton of damage. We're going to switch to high explosive as the Khabarovsk flails at me ineffectively with his HE. Maybe he should have been shooting AP going up into the superstructure. Just an idea from yours truly. We're going to lead him a little bit. We're going to light him up here. And sayonara means goodbye. Kill number 2. Alright, enemy Agir. While we're waiting for him to come out from behind the island, and you will see us dance a death dance of some sorts. Let's talk about armor-piercing DPM. Neptune, number 1, 460,800. Goodness gracious. Way down at the bottom in 15th place, Agir, 163,800. Very last. Alright, torpedo range. Of the ships that have torpedoes, and there are 10, Agir is tied for 9th or 10th place, whatever, with the rune, 6.0, but there are 5 ships that don't have torpedoes at all. Max speed, number 1, Brindisi, 36.7. Agir is tied for 6th, I guess, or 5th, at 33.5 with Neptune and Kronstadt. That is your stat comparison for the Agir. All right, we are now chasing down the enemy Agir. Because I am dumb, we did not switch high explosive. Plus, I wanted to see how effective this armor piercing would be against a stern tanking ship, of which the enemy Agir is doing a little bit of stern tanking. And mixed bag. I just can't get over the AP DPM for this ship being so low compared to the Neptune. Good grief. But it does have armor, I guess. Armor profile working in its favor. So that's that. The enemy Agir is stuck against the border here. So we're going to launch some torpedoes. So that's where you get stuck on the border and open yourself up to damage. What I thought was really great salvo, we did get four penetrations. So I won't really complain. Do get both front turrets knocked out. Or, I'm sorry, our super firing turret was destroyed. But anyway, the enemy Agir steered right into my torpedoes. Kill number 3. And we're going to eat some torpedoes. Because I was not smart enough to think to turn into the enemy ship. And that guy looks like he's from Italy or something. Let's skip ahead to the end of the match. Alright, the match ended. We got some milestones here. So if you like the Stalingrad, you like the Agir. Here we are on the victory screen. Sorry I had to check these things for some reason. So yeah, we got 280 base XP, 3 big kills. We ended up at the top of the board. Really, this is just an indictment of how bad everyone else played in the game rather than my skill in the Agir. Nothing really spectacular except the 3 kills and that Minotaur blundering into a salvo of torpedoes. Alright, here's the upgrades. Aiming system mod 1. Steering gears mod 2. Going old school in slot 3, steering gears mod 3. Your mileage may vary, but help us dodge torpedoes. And gunfire control system mod 2. Your mileage may vary on all that stuff. Loadout, 2 charges of the sonar. I would not use the DFAA fire instead of sonar. 2 charges of a repair party. And then, oddly enough, 3 charges of an enhanced secondary targeting consumable, which I believe is of little use. Run the rare battle booster for main battery, for movement speed and the cooldown time, pardon me. Got the Type 9 permanent camouflage. And the very cool, but otherwise meaningless, Agir flag. Alright, 62,850 hit points. Definitely a strong point. 37% torpedo damage reduction with our build. Got those 3x3 305mm turrets. 19.7 kilometer firing range. 18.8 second reload, 30-second turn time. HE shells just 3,600 max HE shell damage with a 27% fire chance. AP shells 10,010 max damage. 9 twin 128 secondaries, firing range 6.3 kilometers, reload every 3.6 seconds. HE shells 1,500 max damage with a 5% fire chance. Your bread and butter is that main battery, in my opinion. All right, moving on to the torpedoes. 2 quad launchers, reload every 90 seconds. Max damage 13,700. 6 kilometer range at 65 knots. The detectability is 1,300 meters. Moving on to a much more impressive thing, the AA defense. Your secondary batteries are dual purpose and your longest reaching AA. However, that 55 millimeter 9x2 Zwilling guns, 220 damage per second, 5 kilometer firing range, definitely your best AA. Maneuverability 35.9 knots, 880 meter turning circle, 6.1 second rudder shift time with our build. And concealment, what am I waiting for? 13.2 on the surface, that's not great. 8.3 from the air, 10.6 when firing in smoke. I know I kind of cranked this game out quickly. We've got 3 games in Agir, and we won 2 of them. Main battery accuracy leaves a little bit to be desired. Torpedoes, on the other hand, very nice. That game was our best game. All right, here's the armor viewer of the Agir. Let's take it all off. Above water citadel, there's no turtleback to be detected there. So that's that. Put the bow back on. 27 millimeter bow. Torpedo belt way down at the bottom of the ship. This casemate armor has an armor belt up to 190 millimeters. So you're not going to be bouncing a lot of stuff from battleships. Turrets and barbettes, lightly armored. As you can see, we got our super firing turret knocked out in that match. This turret armor leaves a lot to be desired. In my opinion, anyway, that is the armor profile of the Agir. Here is our commander, fully maxed, Karl von Mueller. Base trait, Hardy, increase the cruiser's speed. We have got Kuznetsov for main battery range, and Mimbelli for reload reduction. In row 1, beyond range. In row 2, nobody else chooses this, expose. In row 3, punch through. In row 4, fixated. And the unique legendary skill, emergency bell, which reduces the time for the ship to get to full power and increases the rudder shift and jacks it up if the ship hit points are below 60%. So maybe that's how we were able to avoid those torpedoes from the Minotaur. Anyway, that's the Agir, folks. I hope you enjoyed this at least, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.